Living like a Stae. Hey, hey, 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 love yourself first, explicitly. You owe it to yourself to move with that energy. Empower your self-esteem. Self-love is king. That's the only way to win. That's how you empower your dream. Living like a Stae. Hey, hey, living like a Stae. Hey, hey, living like a Stae. Hey, hey, living like a Stae. Hey, hey.
Hey Lifer Tribe, welcome to another video, Living Life with Stae. And if you're new to the channel, welcome, and thank you so much for being here. And since you're here, please consider hitting that subscribe button and becoming a permanent part of this Lifer Tribe. So we are one full month into 2025, the new year, and a lot of you are probably already experiencing some burnout. We try to hit the ground running every year in the new year, new year, new you, New Year's resolutions, and we do not set realistic expectations for ourselves. We sometimes get overstimulated, overmotivated, so pumped up, and we try to hit the ground running with this vast array of different goals and different things that we want to accomplish, and it becomes overwhelming, and so we burn out. And so with this first month behind us, I just figured that this is a good time to talk about how to avoid that burnout so that you don't give up on your dreams and goals and aspirations, but you learn how to manage them. And so we want to stay motivated. We want to stick to our goals, but we want to do it in a healthy manner. So we are going to talk about 5 different ways. And if you see me looking away, I'm looking at my notes because I wanted to be very intentional about the information that I'm sharing. But we're going to talk about 5 different ways to avoid this burnout, because burnout is real. And when you get to the point where you are burned out, it can be exhausting and it can be disappointing and it can lead to you just giving up. And I don't want that for any of you in 2025. So the number one thing that we want to talk about is recognizing the early stages of burnout and what burnout looks like so that you can kind of get ahead of it. So burnout is when you find yourself procrastinating and possibly avoiding tasks. When you feel as though you are putting a lot into something, but you're not getting anything out of it. Burnout looks like not getting the rest you need, not getting the exercise you need because you feel like you have to stay strapped to this task and you're not giving yourself any time to recharge. Burnout is when you wake up one day and I'm like, you know what? I have so much to do. I just don't feel like I'm going to do anything. That is burnout. Burnout is when you start to question yourself and is this even real I want to do? Is this even for me? Am I capable? When you start having any of those thoughts and feelings, you are on the brink of going into burnout mode. And so you have to recognize it early in order to do the things that you need to do to correct it and avoid it. Because we all get tired at times. We all can get a little overwhelmed at times, but it's when those thoughts of doubt creep in, those real heavy self-criticism thoughts creep in. That's when you could be suffering from burnout. The next thing you need to do when you start to have those feelings and you recognize that you might be creeping up on some burnout, you need to find ways to reignite your passion for whatever it is that you're doing. So you need to take yourself back to the place when you first decided that this was a venture that you wanted to embark upon. You have to remember how excited you were about this. You have to remember what those thoughts and feelings were in that moment. Do some of the things that are more fun with your task in achieving whatever goal that it is. Go and watch some YouTube videos of other people who are doing those same kind of things. Have discussions with like-minded people who are on a similar path or journey as you to kind of reignite that spark. Have that conversation with your BFF, with your life partner or whoever, that person who gives you that atta girl or atta boy, you can do it. Check in with them. Let them know how you're feeling to get that excitement back, to get that exhilaration back for what you're doing. That person who's going to tell you, you can do it. You're just a little overwhelmed now, but don't give up on your dreams. I believe in you, so I need you to believe in you. Those are the conversations that you need to have. Those are the memories that you need to go back to. Those are the feelings that you have to get back in touch with to reignite that passion. Then the next thing you want to do is develop sustainable content strategies that work for you. Time blocking is something that is super, super, super helpful for me. I make a list every single day, every single week of what I'm going to do hour by hour. That way, I have my time dedicated to certain things and I don't end up going down rabbit holes on things that aren't important. I don't skip things. I don't allow myself to be distracted, and I only give myself a certain amount of time to work on each task. And if I'm not able to finish it in that amount of time, then it moves to tomorrow's list, but I keep going because I'm somebody who deals with ADHD, and so it's hard for me to stay focused on one thing for very long. So I allow myself to do multiple things in one day, all important things, all things that need to be done, but I give myself a certain amount of time, because if I try to focus on one thing for too long, it's going to drain me. It's going to frustrate me. It's going to lose my attention, and I'm not quite as productive. Now, time blocking might not be something that works for everybody, but you have to come up with some kind of sustainable measure to be able to get your task completed the way you need to. Don't put too much on your plate. You have to find some way to plan. You have to be realistic with yourself and realize that this is a marathon, not a sprint, and that you are going to do these things in baby steps, in bite-sized chunks, and not try to accomplish some major goal in a short amount of time. So whatever that looks like for you, create that strategy and stick to it. So whether it's time blocking or whether it is achieving very small goals to obtain that big goal and breaking it up into bite-sized pieces, whatever you need to do, make that strategy, and then you need to stick to it. The next thing is you have to protect and set your boundaries and take care of your mental health. You have to have those check-ins, again, with like-minded people, with your therapist, with your best friend. You have to do things to make sure that you are not getting so overwhelmed and getting so critical of yourself that puts you in some sort of depression, if it gets you into some kind of funky mindset where you're no longer able to be productive. Take time away and do those self-care things that help you to pour into yourself to keep your cup overflowing. If I've said it once, I've said it a million times. You can only function in excellence when you are giving from your overflow. And most of the time when I talk about that and talk about boundaries, I'm talking about your relationship with other people. However, it pertains to your relationship with yourself and your relationship with your business, your relationship with your content. You cannot produce great content. You cannot produce great products and services when you're running on fumes. You are going to be much more productive, much more creative when you are creating from your overflow. And when I talk about boundaries, you have to set boundaries for yourself and respect your own boundaries. You need to say, my work hours are from 9 to 5, 3 to 11, whatever works for you, and only work during those hours. Set those boundaries, keep those boundaries so that you have time for proper rest, have time for proper relaxation, have time for your social life, have time to eat a good meal. You have to make sure that you are setting and respecting your own boundaries. There is no point in making boundaries for everybody else, but then you have no boundaries for yourself and you're working yourself to death. You're doing way too much. You're not taking care of yourself. You're not giving yourself any relaxation time. You're not having any kind of social life, because it does not necessarily make you a good content creator, a good business owner, just because you work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Because if you're working like that, are you really creating good content? Are you creating good products and services? Because you are not working from the overflow. So people who take pride and wear it as a badge of honor to say, oh, I work on my business every day, all day. I don't have time for anything else. I don't have time for self-care. To me, you are doing yourself, your business, and your content a disservice. You have to make time for self-care. You have to make time for good mental health in order to be able to function at a level of excellence to reach the goals that you want to reach. The next thing is you want to find inspiration and creativity even when you feel stuck. So especially as a content creator, sometimes we have something similar to writer's block, right? And so we will be thinking, I need to get some content out, but I don't know what to do a video about. Find a way to find inspiration. Go back and look at some of your old content, because a lot of things can now be updated, recreated, say the same thing just in a different way, because everyone does not receive and process information the same. Don't be afraid of reutilizing old content. Look at other content creators and the things that they're creating and make it your own. I'm not saying to copy or be a mirror image, but the thing is, there's nothing new under the sun. A lot of the same information is put out there, but people receive it differently coming from different people. The way you speak to your audience is not the same way that I speak to my audience, which means you can take this very content that I'm sharing today, put your own spin on it, and the people who love and follow and subscribe to you will receive it a lot differently than if they're hearing it from me. And so there's nothing wrong with looking at other people's products, content, services, and just gleaning ideas from it. It's not about copying. It's just about learning and reinventing and recreating and making something your own. So you have to find ways to get inspired. You have to find ways to get your creative juices flowing. And so whenever you feel stuck, whenever you're in a rut, don't be hard on yourself. Just take the time out to find out what it is that you need to do to spark those creative juices and just go from there. And so as we are embarking on this new year, I want you to look over January. Be honest with yourself about how productive you were in January. Did you really have a realistic plan? Were you fair to yourself? Have you been able to stick to those resolutions and goals and everything that you set? And how did that feel? Did you feel overwhelmed or did you feel productive? Are you still now in February gung-ho, ready to go? Or are you feeling like you're in a slump? If you're feeling like you're in a slump, go through the steps that I just shared with you and just try to do what you can do, because it's never too late. I tell people all the time, the new year is really just the next day. And so even though I've done this whole video about, the new year and how to recharge, revamp, it really can apply at any time, because it's just the next day. And so don't be hard on yourself if you didn't have this phenomenal January, because you still have February, March, April, May, all the other months. Just because things might not have gone the way you wanted them to go in January, just because you may not have reached all your goals or stuck to every one of your resolutions in January, doesn't mean that it's the end of the world. You still have February, you still have March, you still have July, you still have May. There's 12 months in the year. And as long as you wake up and have breath in your body and you still have a desire to achieve, it's never too late. So hopefully something I said in this video has given someone a little bit of a foundation to go ahead and move forward. Maybe it has given you a chance to take a woosah, relax, relate, release, give yourself a pat on the back and realize you're doing the best you can, and that's all you can do. But you have to take care of yourself in order to be able to operate in excellence. So y'all know the drill. Always be kind and love one another, but never forget to live your life. L-Y-F-E. Love yourself first explicitly, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Love you all to bits and pieces. Bye.
Living like a Stae. Hey, hey. 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 Love yourself first, explicitly. You owe it to yourself to move with that energy. Empower your self-esteem. Self-love is king. That's the only way to win. That's how you empower